Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have had somewhat of a rough day. Kind of. Not really. Alright, first, let me show you a little more work I did on testing out how to do my promotional videos. Upcoming series of promotional short videos for my game. So, I did this shot that's similar to the one that I showed yesterday, but where I'm actually talking in it. And what do you think you're capable of? What if you were to live completely authentically, embracing even your darkest self? If you don't know the truth about who you are, it will not be possible for you to become what you ought to be. I think. What do you think you're capable of? What if you were to live completely authentically, embracing even your darkest self? If you don't know the truth about who you are, you won't. I think the one without me talking is better. I think the one where I'm talking comes off too cheesy, and I think it breaks the aesthetic of what I'm going for. This idea of an alter ego that I have that speaks through me or takes over my mind, I feel like that's something that's concordant with my vision for this. And I feel like that comes across a lot better and makes it feel more alien and bizarre and interesting when I'm not saying anything. And I think instead what would work better that I just put on different facial expressions. I also think that this makes more sense from an efficiency perspective. I realized that it would actually be a hell of a lot of work, even if I know what the template is, to film a unique video for every single one of these short videos. I want to be pumping these out once every other day. So every time I go to do this, I need to set up all my stuff, which you can see here. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I have all these books for putting my stuff on, my lighting over there, and my camera goes there, and then I sit here in front of the TV where the background is playing. It's not that big of a deal, but I realized this is going to be going on for a while. It kind of sucks in general in my apartment that I just have to have this stuff sitting here all the time. Otherwise, it's a pain in the ass to always go get it and set everything up again, right? So I have to set everything up. I have to memorize the script I want to read. Then I want to do it a bunch of different ways because I want to try reading it in different ways. I have to make sure that the background is appropriately set up. So really, when I put this all together, it's quite a bit of work. Even if, let's say, once a week I do this and I make all 4 of the videos for that week ahead of time in one sitting, that's a lot of footage to do. That's a lot of work to do. And then when I go to edit it, I have to go through all that footage, pick out the ones that work best, and so on. So I think from an efficiency perspective, it also makes sense that instead, probably tomorrow night, I can sit here and do every different possible facial expression with every different possible background. And in one night, just record all the footage I would ever need and create for myself a whole library of clips like that. And then when I go to make new videos, all I have to do is read it with my microphone here. I can do better quality since I don't have to use my lab mic. I can use my proper microphone here. And I can do as many takes as I want without having to leave my desk. I don't have to memorize anything since I can just look at the script while I'm reading. And yeah, and the template is much more already finished for me, and I'll be able to make them much more quickly and easily that way. So no matter how I look at it, I think that's the way to go. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It is unfortunate that I spent, I don't even know. Did I spend like 500? No, I think I spent like a couple $100 on the lab mic. But yeah, that's unfortunate since I guess I don't have that much of a use for it now, but whatever. If I want to resell it later, I can always do that. I mean, it's brand new still and it works perfectly, and it's got all the connections for an iPhone and stuff too, so whatever. Okay, so I'm settled on that. So tomorrow night I'm gonna probably do all the footage for that, and then I can Sunday just start putting it all together. Today, my new trailer debuted, an exclusive trailer that I made for something called the Brutal Indies Unleashed Showcase, a showcase on Steam of a bunch of mostly FPS boomer shooter type games, but they took any kind of violent and gory games, so mine took part in that. I think it continues for the next week or so. We'll see how it goes, if it gives me much of any extra exposure. But I was watching live when they showed the trailer, and it looked like everyone in the chat was thinking that it looked really cool and enjoying it, so that was cool to see. One thing I'm concerned about is I posted that trailer immediately after on my YouTube channel here, and it seems to be getting very few views. Now, I think that might have to do with it just not being a good match for the algorithm, because it's kind of a weird title. I just put that it's like a Brutal Indies trailer. But it has made me slightly concerned about whether or not I've screwed up my channel by posting these videos on here that no one ever really watches, which is fine. I didn't really make it for that purpose. It's mostly for me, but I appreciate the handful of people who seem to come back and enjoy watching these anyway. Yeah, I'm a little concerned that is it because, maybe because I've been posting these videos, a lot of my subscribers don't click them because whatever, they don't really care to watch them every single day. So does that signal the algorithm not to show any more of my videos? I don't know. I guess I'm going to find out when I post my first proper long form video and I return to that. At least my shorts are doing okay. I did post a short in the middle of this that ended up getting like 29,000 views. So that's like one of my best videos yet. So at least my shorts are unaffected, but hopefully my long form ones aren't as well. We'll see. Now, I mentioned that I had a rough day, and that's because I didn't get around to doing much work, and I decided to kind of take the day off and chill out for the most part, and to try to get myself, and I know I've done this a million times now, but to seriously reset and get myself on proper track. Because one thing that struck me today is I was looking at a lot of the other games in the showcase, and many of them had demos on Steam, and I was comparing myself to them on the list of the most wishlisted games on SteamDB. And many of these games, which are not particularly big, but nevertheless have way more wish lists than I do. They are like, I am like the top 30, I'm like 3,100, somewhere around there. The top 3,100th wishlisted game on Steam for upcoming games. And many of these other games were in like the top 1,000. So I can only assume that's like minimum tens of thousands more than I have. And to be fair, I don't know, maybe some of these are releasing soon. Maybe they've had their store page up for longer than me. I don't know. But seeing that made me feel like I have to be careful about not underestimating just how much work there is to do and how far I have to go, and perhaps even to some extent how lucky I have to be for this to really work out, financially anyway. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really change anything, but just looking at these other games, I'm just like, this is the importance of what I was talking about before when I mentioned, people were saying that it's like, it's a good thing I already have like 9,000 wish lists or whatever, but that is nowhere near enough to confirm success. But on the other hand, the other thing that's weird is from looking at so many different indie games, and every single time I see a new game, I go to their Steam page, I check out all their socials. And honestly, it seems like there are no real reliable, consistent indicators of whether or not you'll succeed. I have seen games that have 100,000 followers on TikTok, millions of views on certain videos. The game comes out, completely bombs. Middling reviews, and they sell like, 5,000 copies or something. Then I've seen other ones that have no social media presence at all, and yet somehow they have an insane number of wish lists, like the Steam algorithm seems to just love them. I've seen games come out with 100,000 wish lists and they sell like 20,000 copies. I see games that have significantly less and they sell a lot more. I see just all kinds of shit like that. And demos as well. I kept looking at my number of demo reviews and the amount of people giving me feedback on it and how many people are playing it as some kind of indicator as well of growing popularity. But I was comparing my demo review numbers to demos from other games in the showcase today, and even there it tells you nothing. There's a game on there that has the same number of reviews as my demo and is quite a bit lower than me in terms of how many wishlists they have. Then there's another game that has a demo with like barely more than 10 reviews. That game has like, I don't know, they're like 2,000 ranks higher than me. They apparently have like way more popularity otherwise. And so none of these things are guaranteed predictors of anything. A lot of people don't, I've realized like demos can help because maybe on the off chance it blows up for some reason. Maybe some streamer plays it. I don't know. But at the same time, a lot of people don't care about demos. They don't play them that much. I've noticed a ton of people, they won't play demos because they don't want to spoil the game. Or they do play the demo, but they check it out for literally like 5 minutes. They just want to see what it's like and then decide like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in this, and then I'll play the rest when it comes out. So there's stuff, lots of different factors like that. Even wish lists in general, I question their predictability because first of all, there's a lot of different factors like, did the person wishlist the game like 3 years ago and they don't even care anymore? Or is it someone who's kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll play that one day? Or is it someone who's like, oh, I'm going to play this the second it comes out? Like, you know what I mean? It can mean totally different things. And in fact, when I think about how I wishlist games, I feel like most games I've ever bought, I didn't wishlist them at all. I didn't even anticipate them. I don't know, heard about them or on the spur of the moment decided to buy them or whatever. I feel like it's relatively rare. And most of my wish list, I would say, is precisely games that are like, yeah, one day if I have some time or some leftover cash or whatever, maybe I'll go ahead and buy this thing, So I feel like at best, that first of all, that developers in general put way too much way too much weight on how many wish lists they get in terms of it being a predictor of success. I think that it does obviously have a correlation, but it seems to set a floor for how many sales you're likely to make. But that floor is very low, even if you have tons and tons of wish lists, and the range of sales you might make starting from the floor, however high it can go, is like absolutely crazy. It's hugely massive. You could end up selling a almost laughably bad amount relative to how much interest was supposedly shown, and then you can also sell an absurd amount. And then, of course, like I said before, there's also games that blow up after they come out, and they didn't even have that many wish lists. So all of this is to say that it reinforces for me the need to just focus on making what I want to make and to not worry so much about any of this, ironically, and think about it so much and obsess over it, and then just hope for the best. Obviously care and try everything I can with regards to publicizing it and promoting it, but it seems like, I don't want to go so far as to say luck is the main thing that determines it, definitely not, but it seems like the scale of your success can be dependent on releasing the right thing at the right time for some reason. And I also have a hard time being able to tell, even looking at my game now, like, is this a 100,000 sales type of game, or is it like a 50,000? Is it a 20,000? I know I have something good. I feel like there is a certain floor of success for it already as well. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just the scale of the amount of games coming out all the time, and the need to be the right kind of game at the right time. And I mean, on the other hand, there are all these games too that I see all the time that I've never even heard of. Random ass indie games that also have like no community you've ever heard of or anything, and you just come across them randomly on Steam, and they've sold like 50,000 copies. So shit, I don't know, man. I don't know. Publishers seem to play a decent deal in it as well. It seems like a lot of the games that don't look like they have a big social media presence, I suspect they almost always have publishers who have access to big publications, or they take them to big expos and things like that. And I just really don't want to go down that path, man. I really, really want to find a way to be self-made. To do my own thing and not give a shit and just do it. And even if it's the hardest path and I've got a lot of far more hard work than I thought ahead of me, well, so be it. And that's the thing. That's what I was grappling with today, and why I was like, okay, I need to hit that reset button again. I really have to push myself to the next level. I have to take this 100% seriously. I was thinking, I've also been wrestling with nostalgia recently. Like when I mentioned the other night that I was playing a little bit of like World of Warcraft Classic because I was feeling nostalgic. I noticed while I was playing it, it's just not the same. I don't have the same desire to sit around and play games anymore or to do anything. There's this thing inside me that's just constantly like, I'm running from something. I need to do my thing. What am I doing? I have a limited life. I've played enough games. I need to like get to work. I need to make shit. You know what I mean? I don't always feel that way. There are times where I can chill out and take a break and enjoy myself and play a game and whatever, but I think right now in this moment, most especially, I feel like I have to put absolutely everything aside and just hyper focus in on this, which obviously I've been trying to do anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Something about taking this all in today and really internalizing it made me feel like there's a whole new level of pressure that I put upon myself because of this. Now, sudden quick detour from this conversation. I thought another thing I was thinking about with those promotional videos, the one with me not talking. I wanted to use this template. This is like my new Solidio character. I wanted to use that as a template as well for my longer form YouTube video that I'm going to get back to making soon. But I realized that it might be kind of weird to just for long periods of the video be looking at just me staring into the camera, or even with different facial expressions, still possibly kind of weird. And so I was thinking this might make space for something interesting where I'll have like two characters that are doing it back and forth, where one is kind of like the real me, but maybe a satirical version that's just Matt, and then have the Solidio character who's the not speaking, just facial expressions with the lighting and all that, with those kinds of clips, and then having a back and forth while I go through the devlog tied in with some kind of topic. So I thought that could be a really neat idea for how I could make this work, but I'll see. It's possible I could make it with just the footage work as well, since I would probably want to edit it for it to be interesting in general, not just long periods of time of me sitting there talking anyway. But anyway, so that was another idea that occurred to me. So, yeah, so I don't think I have much else to say about what I was talking about. I don't know. So I'm calling it quits early tonight. And I know I have to do this, and I still believe in myself, but I'm increasingly like, I feel like either at some point I'm gonna meet my good fortune and things will all at once suddenly blow up with this game, or I'm in for a much longer and harder path than I had hoped for. But hey, if that's the case, so be it. I say bring on the new adventure. And I will say also, the one thing that feels like a benefit from this pressure is, especially as I get closer towards finishing the game and towards release, if it still looks like it might not do all that great, I'm going to feel increasingly free to really do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I already try to do that, but there is always a certain pressure to do things a certain way to try to maximize your success. You try to imitate certain strategies that seem to work for other people, or yeah, I don't know. You just think about a lot of things about that, about what you should do and what you shouldn't do based on what technically should or shouldn't work in the market, how people might perceive you. Like, you really treat it like a serious business venture. And I can't help but wonder if there's going to be an irony here where I'm going to get close to the end of finishing the game. It still looks like it might not work out for me financially. And so I'm like, okay, well, fuck it then. I might as well do whatever I want. And then I just start being completely unhinged and literally doing whatever the fuck and not giving a shit about trying to do anything in like a reasonable or, I don't know, common kind of way. And I'm just saying it would be ironic if like that's what happens. And then because of that, then it ends up becoming more popular. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see. For now, I'm still excited and curious to see how this new promo campaign is going to go once I get it started. And otherwise, I need to focus in like I've never focused before and dedicate myself to making the most genuine and best version of this game that I can. And that was the one last thing I wanted to say, is that I do feel like in the end, the success of this will depend more than anything on staying true to what feels right for me with this game and trying to ignore any outside pressure and ideas about what I should do with it. Specifically, I'm thinking with regards to the narrative, the dialogue, because as I mentioned not too long ago, I've gotten a completely new idea of how I'm going to do that, and I've already rewritten big parts of the dialogue and made the characters have much stronger personalities, and I have a more clear vision of what I want to do with it. And yeah, I don't know, it might come off kind of like edgy or something, or a little too hardcore or something, but I feel like for it to succeed, I need to go all in on my vision and on making something that I really, really love, and not just proud of, but that just like resonates with me, that just feels true to what I enjoy and what what is true to my self-expression, what is true to what I'm trying to do with this. All right, that ended up being a lot longer than I thought. I'm gonna go eat something. I'm gonna go to bed, as I've done so many times before, and let's see how things go tomorrow. Stay focused, mind. And may all the universe guide me into being persistent and having fortitude, staying true to myself, and making sure that whatever happens in the end, whether I succeed or not, I gave it my all, and I did what I was supposed to do. Peace.